Good evening. As we come on the air tonight for Willie's Weather Channel, we continue to focus on tracking Irma, with its warnings being issued on the Florida coastline and Puerto Rico in the direct path. This is Tracking Irma with Willie Gillespie on Willie's Weather Channel, live on YouTube. And good evening, everybody, and we are obviously really focused on Hurricane Irma at this time, and I want to start on the Miami shores right now. As you can see, we have some hurricane advisories getting set there. In just a little while, we will have a word that more evacuations have been issued for all of the southern part of Florida, so including the Bahamas, in the direct path of the system at this time. So we want to talk about what the track is for this and who this is going to affect directly, because that's what people really want to know when they're dealing with this hurricane. So we're going to start over where the hurricane is set up, and you can see we have some nice formation from the system. And this white box you see here on the screen, that is indicating that we have a hurricane warning in effect. I'll put that on the screen for you. We have a hurricane warning and multiple warnings. We're getting crowd reports of power outages all over the place. It's 1 minute ago, actually at 6:39 p.m., we got a report of a power outage, and they've just been coming into the studio. So this is right now in Puerto Rico, and zoom in on that. This is the eye is just off the coast of Puerto Rico right now, just north of it, and it looks like we're actually getting some tornadic signature with this system. So there is a potential that a tornado could be forming from this hurricane. So we're going to need to watch that as it comes closer to the coast. But you can see here, this is a nicely formed eye wall, and you can kind of see that that surrounding area, this line here, that's our eye wall, and right in the middle there, it's nice and calm. But if you're in that area, it won't be calm for long. You can see the images on the right side of your screen at this time. Those are images of people evacuating, and that's the governor of Florida starting to order evacuations in the area. And you can see behind him there's an ambulance with the control for emergency management, and on the bottom right there is a track of the hurricane from the National Weather Service and the Hurricane Center in the United States. But our track of it brings it right around the Turks and Caicos and then over by Miami. So this white box here, it's kind of also on a cone on your screen, the tiny bit on the bottom right there. You see that cone that kind of outlines it by Florida? That indicates the general path of the system. And you can see it includes all of Florida at this time. And this is, it's a pretty nice wide cone. The top of it, we're watching the formation for about, that was incorrect, about 300 miles. And you can see all of Florida is encompassed, and even parts of South Virginia are getting into a piece of the action at this time. So this is the current track. This is really subject to change over time. So we're going to keep our eye on that for you. But we got to play this out, obviously. So we are going to put this right here, right now, and you can see that the red triangle icon on the screen. That is indicating that we have some circulation, and I'm probably just going to say that's probably not a tornado, but you can see it's right next to the eye wall, and that's where we're getting the really hard hit with circulation. So if you're going to the eye wall, that's the worst place for the storm to be, but then you get some calm down, but then it revs back up again. You got the whole half of the storm to go through. Anyway, putting it at a Category 5 storm right now, Hurricane Irma, watching west-northwest winds 14 miles per hour and maximum sustained wind of 185 miles per hour, and only 1,038 miles away from Miami, Florida at this time. And this is right now, so as you can see, this is not a good system. We're going to play this out, and then we are, hold on, is it correct? Hit that? Nope. Alright, hold on. I'm having some technical difficulties. There we go. We still have a Cat 5 as it just moves out of the area, out of Puerto Rico, and then this is only 915 miles from Miami, Florida, and we have maximum sustained winds only 180 miles per hour, so it really hasn't calmed down since we checked out. This is going to be 1 a.m. tomorrow morning is when that will be, but then we extend it over these beautifully warm waters. So much energy for this hurricane. It maintains the Cat 5 with 175 mile per hour wind gusts. and 215 mile per hour. Sorry, wind gusts there, and sustained winds 175 miles per hour. This is 1 p.m. tomorrow, and these warm waters are fueling this hurricane so nicely. And I don't know if I can put up the hurricane, the water track of this. Hold on one second. Water temp. Let's see if it's going to show up. I don't think it is going to show up for this area. Oh, there we go. Thank you, map. Alright, so you see this bright orange here? This is the warm water that is really fueling this hurricane. And you can see it's just continuing to be warm water. This is about 80, 90 degrees. So really the minimum for a hurricane is around 83, 84 degrees. And it's just beyond that point at this time. And that's why this hurricane has been fueled. And even with Harvey, Hurricane Harvey, which was around last week, it had so much warm water over the Gulf of Mexico. This place over the Gulf of Mexico here, so much warm water, really almost 90 degrees. So it's just not good for that because it's going to be constantly fueling up as it powers into Florida. And that is going to be a danger for these people. So then we are going to play it around, I think this is going to be 1 a.m. on Friday. Yeah, 1 p.m. on Friday. Sorry about that. We have Cat 4, it's been downgraded, 155 miles per hour, 190 gusts. So still a lot of energy there. And you can see it's only moving at 14 miles per hour. So that's not very good. And at this time it's only 196 miles away from Miami, Florida. So it's getting closer. And then we don't have a track of it actually hitting Florida. It hasn't been confirmed by this model, but we do have it. Just a 196. I just think I just showed this actually. Anyway, this is our latest confirmed track on this. Is most likely position we have here to have it just a little northeast of Santa Clara at about 1 p.m. on Friday, and then anywhere between 1 p.m. on Friday and Sunday, impact could be expected near the Florida area. So we really have all eyes on that area at this time. But for Miami, gotta talk about that area. Well, the Miami airport is reading at 85 right now. It's 92, but conditions are going to change very soon for them. We are looking Thursday. The forecast by this model generated is saying that we will have about 0.4 of an inch on Thursday in the afternoon, and then we go into Friday with some isolated thunderstorms watching the tropics, obviously there. And this is saying only 0.2, but I think we're going to be higher. But Saturday is when the impact is expected. You can see 1.9 inches in the morning, but then at nighttime another 4 inches for this area. So it's going to be pretty heavy rain, and then another 1.5 inches on Sunday, and then, I don't really know the track of it by that time because it's too far out. But you can see it is not a good forecast for Miami in any case at this time. But you have to consider that the Bahamas are here, we have Cuba here, so all these areas are going to get impacted, and it has just, it's about to go over right now, it's about to go over Puerto Rico and that area there, so it's really going to be causing some harm there for them. And then you can see it's just going to cut by the Dominican Republic. They're going to still get some pretty big waves and winds and maybe a little rain from that, but you can see how big this thing is. Let me take all the warnings off the map, and that leaves just about what we have here. Well, I guess I didn't take that off the map. But anyway, it's a big system, so I want to get all this stuff off the map to show you what it looks like without all the special stuff. But my map is not cooperating. There we go. Alright. I might have turned off the global radar too while I was at it. Yeah, turn off enhanced global radar. Alright, so this is our enhanced global radar, and you can see it should be popping up in just a minute. There we go. There we go. You can see this thing is pretty big, and it's going to be impacting a lot of the area. You can see Puerto Rico is getting rain. They're just not getting the eye. The eye is what really matters, and if you're in the eye wall or anywhere near it, it's not looking good for you. So if you're really going to be in that area, it just get out of there. I mean, I'm pretty sure you can't. Traffic is going to be pretty backed up. But as you can see, if you're in the Dominican Republic, expect impacts in the next 24 hours as it is coming your way. But the Virgin Islands are currently being impacted by the system, and that is what we are focusing on. How big is this hurricane? Well, it is big, I'll tell you that. So if we measure this, the leading edge of the rainfall, so this is about 282 miles long, and then wide, it's, oh, hold on, don't want that up. Wide, it is also, you know, a pretty good distance, about 240 miles wide. So you can see this is a very big hurricane, and it's just moving with a lot of strength, and the areas impacted, St. John's and, you know, St. Martin, is that how you say it? I'm not sure, though. But anywhere in the path, I want to talk about predictions and models now, because that's what we want to, you know, that's what we want to get to. Because what is the probability that this is going to hit Florida? Well, it's not looking too good right now. Probably about 95%. You can see we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 models that are agreeing and saying this will just go right up the coast of Florida, and that is not good news. And all these models are saying that because of the recent track that we've had in this hurricane and the fact that the pressure is slowly dropping off with the system, which means it is increasing still. So that is not good. But we have the track, as I said, including all of Florida, and even parts of Tallahassee are included in that. And yesterday I was looking at the tracks. They said it was going to kind of actually go up Louisiana and up that area. Not looking at that track right now, but I want to show you something interesting, because some of these models are predicting that the storm will, you know, kind of dissipate around here at the northern tip of Florida, and then it just be a rainstorm moving up north and into parts of Indiana and Toronto and up to Canada. I don't think it's going to be that strong, but some models are predicting that. So when the models say they're right, the models are right. But sometimes that's not always the case. Anyway, this is a track I just got in from the Hurricane Center. This is placing it. Oh, this is not looking good. This is not looking good at all. This red track here, this is the, see that little red dot here by just north of Jacksonville, that is the indicated track, and the model has increased its probability significantly. And this is another one which places this hurricane right next to Miami at about 1 p.m. on September 10th at a Category 4 storm. So this is just in from the Hurricane Center, and we have maximum sustained winds of 145 miles per hour and gusts of 175 miles per hour. This is, as I said, just breaking news from the Hurricane Center, and we are watching this track. It's just grown. The probability of this track has just grown, and most of the tracks are now suggesting it'll just go right off the coast of Florida and then gain a little more energy when the hurricane goes back into warm waters. These are still very 85 degrees, 90 degrees, but this plots it right here just south of Brunswick as still, and this is downgraded to a Cat 3, but you can see a Category 3 storm will then run into the Virginias, Carolinas. I always screw that up. Anyway, it'll run into the Carolinas, and just it is not looking good for these predictions. And this is the track that has just changed, and now it's projected to go. The storm's projected to go up through Knoxville, Tennessee, and then through South Carolina, and then extend into this is our track that we were looking at before, but it's changed. So this brings it up Ohio and into St. Louis, all different crazy projections here, but focus is really on the storm system right here, Miami, in the direct path of the storm system. And I can't believe it. This is a Category 4 storm that is going to plow right into Miami. And oh wow, this is not looking good for the people of Florida. Want to shift your attention just 1 minute. This is not affecting our area, but we have a little hurricane spinning out, tropical. I don't know what it is at this time, but we're gonna get that on there. Yeah, we have a Hurricane Katie. It's a Category 1 hurricane, and this is moving right to Mexico and Hidalgo, and parts of, Mexican area there that is going to be impacted by that hurricane. You can see how tiny it is compared to what we're watching with Irma, but you can see anywhere from Veracruz up through Salapa and then Hidalgo is going to get impacted by, Category 1 hurricane. You don't get one of those every day, but not as severe as what we were seeing over here with Irma, and I want to go back to that right now, but we're going to wait 1 second because we have another hurricane spinning away, and actually this is kind of an interesting one here. This is another, lower category storm. This is Hurricane Jose, and it is not very strong. I keep screwing this up. What am I doing wrong here? I think I need IT. Anyway, this is Hurricane Jose and a Category 1 storm, and this is really another slow-moving system that's kind of spiraling out, but you can see the tracks are bringing it kind of far, but then they kind of stop. I don't know why my map isn't working here. There we go. Alright, hitting no land at all. Jose will probably not hit land, but as you can see, it is kind of going to spin out into the ocean, and well, that's that. So we're going to go talk one more time about what our latest developments with Hurricane Irma is, and then we're going to take a short break, but I can guarantee you we're going to be back in just a second with the latest details on Hurricane Irma. So one more look at the track before we take a short break, and we are not even going to, we're going to go off the air for less than 2 minutes, and so hopefully we can get back on and you can enjoy the show even more, but quickly, I want to show you this track one more time. This is just a few miles north of Miami, and this is projected to make landfall on Florida at about 1 o'clock p.m. on September 10th. There is your official prediction from the model. Has been able to crank that out 4 or 5 days ahead of time. Pretty impressive. And so that is when we're expected landfall here in this area. And we're going to talk more about the exact predictions and what we've got going on with Hurricane Irma. Also, the political perspective. What is going on with the governor and how the evacuations are going to be planned in this, as it's only a few days out. Harvey, not the best. Around 40 lives were lost in that. Maybe Florida can prepare better. We'll have more details coming up in just a minute. This is Tracking Irma with Willie Gillespie. Good evening, everybody. We start on the air for the second time this evening with the latest details on Hurricane Irma as it continues to make devastating impacts in the oceans. And we are continuing to watch it as it continues its track and expected to hit Florida within the next 5 days. This is Tracking Irma with Willie Gillespie. And good evening, everybody. I am Willie Gillespie, and we are continuing to plot Irma out. I just got this on my last broadcast just a few minutes ago from the National Hurricane Center. We've gotten new details that Irma is expected to make landfall in Florida on Saturday in the the ocean. So this is a big deal here. This is just a massive hurricane. It's still a Category 5 in the Atlantic, and it is spinning out of control near the Dominican Republic and Puerto Rico, just getting hit so hard by this devastating impact. And we're going to start with how it's going over in Puerto Rico in San Juan. we're going to start with the precipitation totals for these areas, and we're waiting for it to load. Sometimes it takes a while. Alright, we are starting off this evening in Guaynabo, Puerto Rico, and only expected to get another 1.89 inches of rain, but that is because, you can see here, this is the eye wall, and this is the area where we're really getting the worst impacts, and it's just, a little farther away from that. So, if you're in this area here, well, it's going to be bad for you. But, if you're in the outside place, like what I outlined in the last circle, but not so good. Anyway, if you're in the outlined circle, the out circle, the back circle, I don't know how to describe it. Anyway, if you're in that area, you're going to get some rain. It could be heavy, but as you saw in Guaynabo, it won't be so bad. But can I do that? I don't know if I can do that or not. Well, let's see what happens. Anyway, when we go closer to the eye of the system, a lot more rain will fall, and the leading edge of the system, this is putting it at La Torre, Puerto Rico, which is the closest place to the system. But we put this is the leading edge here, this front edge. It's powering northwest at this time. But if we set it here, you can see this eye wall here, the left side of the eye, is where the devastating impacts, and that's what hurt people in Texas, is this eye wall here. It's the most powerful part of it. The leading eye wall is where it is. And then you think it's all over because it's nice and calm, but you still got all this hurricane to go. So if you're in a hurricane, never believe that it's over when you see dark clouds just, a few miles away. Anyway, the track, I just talked about this a few minutes ago. We just got a new track from the National Hurricane Center about 15 minutes ago that gave us more details on exactly when a landfall can be expected for Florida. Excuse me. And we're expecting landfall to occur around Saturday. I think it's on the top of your screen right now. Anyway, Saturday is sometime when Irma is expected to get the landfall. You can see it may just miss the eye of the storm, may miss parts of Homestead, and maybe even Key West might get Colored Bay, Palmetto Bay. But anyway, you're still going to get a piece of the action. This white track here is kind of hard to see because it's white, and all the other colors are different colors and they're brighter. But that should help. And that white path there, the one I have, is where we're expecting that eye to just drive through. So here's the eye, and that's going to go right up through there. However, the massive hurricane will kind of include all of Florida. So even though they're not going to get the eye, they're going to get a heck of a lot of rain, and I don't think people are ready for that. I want to go to the evacuations because there are a few at this time. We have evacuations for Key West in Florida, and I'm pretty sure those are mandatory. I haven't done too much research into it, but I'm pretty sure Key West evacuations are mandatory, and you can see in the top right of your screen the governor of Florida discussing the issue, and in the back of him the emergency management vehicle, and that is really not a good sight there. That this is about to happen to the people of Florida. In the second picture, you can see a lady is stockpiling water. Third picture, all that traffic. It is horrible. And then, this is actually kind of interesting. You see in the bottom right picture, there's that track. And then there's the white outline cone there with nothing filled in it that kind of includes the tip of Florida. Well, that's kind of what this is. This is not a guaranteed track, but it's 99% likely that that outlined white cone that's not filled at the back edge of the system, that is not guaranteed. Okay, that's like, it's high in probability, but they can't guarantee it's going to go that way because of pressure and wind speed and wind direction. So, but anyway, this is a very likely path, and I'm pretty sure our models can almost guarantee this. You can see all the models are bringing right up within that cone area. So that is probably what is going to happen. Anyway, that just kind of wraps up Hurricane Irma for you in about 20 minutes. Anyway, thank you for watching, everybody. I'm Willie Gillespie. We will continue to bring you live updates of Hurricane Irma as it continues to power through the Atlantic Ocean. I hope you have a great evening, everybody, and we'll see you back here tomorrow, live with Willie Gillespie on Willie's Weather Channel with YouTube streaming live. Have a great day, everybody, and I'll see you back here tomorrow.